Two Really Drunk Bros comes a Broback segment on the original Spider-Man. I'm Matt Geiger alongside my partner Jeff Hornacek. And Jeff, should it be illegal for girls to wear bras in the rain?
All I'll say, Matt, is when that scene happened with Kirsten Dunst, Bonesaw was ready.
And of course you know, we grade everything on 5 criteria: cast, story, best scene, impacts on pop culture, and rewatchability. So, Jeff, take it away with the cast.
So this is a movie that was fun to do this Broback on because it's good to go back and revisit these every now and then. And Spider-Man, directed by Sam Raimi, is a classic in the superhero genre. So the cast, I'll leave some of the big players for you, but J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, absolute standout. I don't know who's going to take this role after him. Of course, Macy Gray. I'm kidding. That was a stupid cameo. But I also really enjoyed Franco as Osborn. I think he was much better than DeHaan's version, and I really, really bought him and McGuire's relationship and believed that they could be friends. And as a guy who has kind of made a living out of not being taken too seriously, this is one time where I think he just really worked in this role. So those are the two that really stood out to me from the cast of Spider-Man. How about you?
Yeah, we're just talking about the original. You know, we could do a lot of jokes on a lot of these people if we're talking about, well, definitely 3. 2 is a pretty good one, but I have to agree with you on Franco. I love Franco in this. William Dafoe was probably the best villain I have seen until Heath Ledger probably came along, or maybe the original Batman. He was a fantastic villain. Kristen Dunst, I loved her. She was red hot coming off Bring It On. And Tobey McGuire. Dude, I love Tobey McGuire in this movie. Him in the first 2, I thought he did a fantastic job. Yeah, you have to get over the fact he looks like he's 42 going to high school, but still, I thought he did a fantastic job and got in fantastic shape for it as well. Story. I'll take this one. This is the best origin story of Spider-Man so far. The best Uncle Ben I feel that we've had. I really bought him. And it sets up Green Goblin and Hobgoblin perfect, in my opinion. Do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of times the thing with superhero origin stories, the tough thing to do is pacing. And this is why Batman Begins works so well. So you want to tell the hero's story, but also we want to fucking see the superhero. Like, show him to us. This movie did a really good job of balancing that. And like you said, the whole, obviously we're going to spoil the movie, we hope you've seen it, but the ending scene with Osborn and Peter's relationship, both the Osborns and Peter's relationship, all that stuff really paid off well for me. So I think this did a great job of pacing the first third, giving us enough Spider-Man in the middle of the movie, and then at the end giving us all the payoffs we wanted for the characters. So yeah, I really like the story here.
It sets it up, and if I remember right, 2 doesn't even have Hobgoblin in it. It just keeps setting it up. I thought they did a great slow burn for that.
Yeah, it has like the ghost of Green Goblin, and then Harry takes like some, I don't know. We're not fucking talking about that, but it's a great movie also.
Okay, best scene. Go.
There was a couple here I was trying to choose from. There's the iconic scene, of course, where they have the kiss. I really like the scene where Peter wakes up the morning after being bitten by the spider, and just sort of his realizing, who hasn't woken up post-puberty and had a little bit of webbing around their room, if you know what I'm saying. But he realizes that he doesn't need his glasses anymore. He's all of a sudden jacked, and just him kind of experiencing... I just love the whole trope of, like, Mom, don't come in! As he's like, I think it's just really, really relatable, even though, like you said, Tobey McGuire looked like he should have been, like, his grandson could have lived in the house with them. But that was my favorite scene of the movie, and I think was just a really cool way of showing the origin and kind of relating sort of the youth that Spider-Man has throughout a lot of his comics, in the early runs at least.
Dude, there's so many times in high school that I had the flu or something and went to bed. I'm like, well, at least I'll wake up tomorrow and I won't need my contacts and I'll be jacked beyond belief.
Yeah.
I actually had 2 favorite scenes. That was one of them. The second one, of course, everyone knows I'm a huge WWE fan, so the Bonesaw Macho Man Randy Savage,
Rest in
which was
peace.
right out of the comic book, was such a badass scene. When they have the cage come in, and then you find out that his name was going to be the Human Spider, and they switch it to Spider-Man, and then he kicks the shit out of Macho Man Randy Savage. That was my favorite scene. It was so comic booky, so well done, so well shot. It kind of pays a tribute to it in The Amazing Spider-Man when he falls into the wrestling ring, but they don't actually have like him beating the shit out of the wrestler. But I love that scene.
Sorry, real quick, something about that scene that I actually found out today online, and I'm not sure if a lot of other people know this. So, in that scene, Bruce Campbell, who of course is from all of the zombie. I can't remember the names of them, but all the zombie movies that Sam Raimi has done. He Ash vs. the Evil Dead. So he plays the ring announcer in that movie.
Yeah.
Kind of a nice little cameo. And I had read today that Raimi and him had planned to actually set his character up. The ring announcer was going to end up being Mysterio in the 4th movie. And they were going to explain what has happened to his character throughout the other 3. So obviously it never came to fruition, but kind of a cool nod to see him in the film. And then when I read that, I was like, that's some cool trivia that our fellow bros and broettes out there would maybe like to hear.
That is very, because I still think that the best Spider-Man villains are Mysterio and Carnage. We still have not seen them in any aspect at all.
Right.
Impacts on pop culture. You want to take this one first?
Yeah, this one is big because this was kind of when the superhero movie was starting to become a viable genre. We just got the first X-Men movie, and I think this kind of proved that that movie wasn't a fluke in a lot of ways. That you could actually make this, these movies could come out every year, and people wouldn't get sick of them, and they would be really good. So for there, it's big pop culture. Also, I think it's kind of irrefutable. This is the peak and the best roles ever for Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. I mean, this is when they had literally their whole future ahead of them as far as what they could have done in Hollywood, and really have no one to blame except for themselves because this movie gave them ample opportunities to make something. And so at that point, they were like the hottest young stars in Hollywood. What do you think about pop culture?
The biggest blockbusters, in my opinion, before the superhero movies really took off was this one, Batman Begins, and the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
This one, I know X-Men was huge in 2000, but this one was red hot. I never can remember being that jacked for a sequel whenever I saw Spider-Man 2. And Spider-Man 1, when I saw it in theaters, remember when we thought, man, we're finally getting a Spider-Man movie, and now on July 7th, we're like, damn, we're finally getting a 6th Spider-Man movie, and it's only been like fucking 10 years. It's insane. But this was huge. It was a summer blockbuster. It made their careers for about 10 years, and it was absolutely fantastic. Rewatchability, going right off that tangent. I will watch this probably 4 times a year. It's my favorite Spider-Man movie ever. It still holds up. Homecoming is going to have to do a really good job to top this one. I think they get worse as they go. Spider-Man 2 is pretty good. Spider-Man 3 is an utter disappointment, but this one's a fantastic movie and a top 10 comic book movie for me. What about you?
Yeah, this is actually on TV quite a bit these days, which is kind of cool. The only thing about this movie, first off, there's some really cool people in this that you didn't realize. Bryce Dallas Howard is Gwen Stacy, and Elizabeth Banks is J. Jonah Jameson's secretary, which you're like, Jesus Christ, who wasn't in this movie that ended up having a career in Hollywood? The World Unity Parade is the only scene in this movie that doesn't hold up and gets a little campy for me. Besides that, this is just a fun movie that was, it has a nice nostalgia factor because you remember back before we knew what superhero movies could become, and it just made us feel like, oh shit, this is the start of something awesome with this genre.
Yeah.
And history has proven out that it was. So pretty good rewatchability for me, especially more than the third one in this series, which I don't know if we'll ever get to it because it's an abomination.
I hope not to watch it. And before we leave you guys, I want everyone to close their eyes and just realize that Tobey Maguire beat out Leonardo DiCaprio for this role in these 3 movies. So just sometime in your day, take 20 minutes to just think about what life would be like if Leo was the first Peter Parker we ever had. We are the Bro Force Squad. Check us out on our website, broforcesquad.com. We're also on Facebook, Bro Force Squad Podcast. We're on Twitter as well, at Bro Force Squad. We're on YouTube and iTunes, so please subscribe to us to both so you don't miss any of our action. Until then, we'll catch you later.
Spider-Man!